You know my policy on COVID, guys, and it's tough to hold to this policy. It's a Rubin Report policy, and I try to go by the policies that I set forth here at the Rubin Report. My policy is I don't want to put out the stories about COVID that are going to depress you, because it's just like we just have to move on. And I think in most cases, most of you guys have moved on. I have moved on. I don't wear a mask anywhere. You got to live your life. Get injected 80 times, whatever you want to do, like make some decisions for yourself. This shit ain't going away. They love the power. They want more control over your life. Okay, we all get it. Well, there's this guy, Bill de Blasio, and he's a true psychopath, horrible mayor of New York City, destroyed New York City to the point that my family, I've mentioned this many times before, there were times since around 1910 that my family had probably at the height of it about 60 to 70 family members living in New York City in the boroughs. We got 2 left. I used to say there was 1, but I was informed of a cousin in Brooklyn. I got 1 in Manhattan, 1 in Brooklyn. Everyone else has fled. My sister was the last one to flee with her husband and 2 kids during the pandemic. The city is dirty. It's gross. It smells like weed. Crime is through the roof. You can break into stores and steal shit. We all know that. You can just go into CVS and just clear out an aisle. Nobody's going to do anything. It's really, really depressing. It just is. He ruined the greatest city on earth. That's what Bill de Blasio did. And you know, hopefully it'll come back at some point. But anyway, the guy's got about 3 weeks left of his terrible administration. And listen to what he's doing with his last couple weeks.
We in New York City have decided to use a preemptive strike to really do something bold to stop the further growth of COVID and the dangers it's causing to all of us. So as of today, we're going to announce a first-in-the-nation measure. Our health commissioner will announce a vaccine mandate for private sector employers across the board. All private sector employers in New York City will be covered by this vaccine mandate as of December 27th. We're going to have some other measures as well to really focus on maximizing vaccination quickly so we can get ahead of Omicron and all the other challenges we're facing right now.
Okay, so you get it. He's a fear-mongering maniac ahead of Omicron. Okay, there's about 3 people in the United States with Omicron, which, from what I'm told, is no relation to Unicron, the planet-eating destroyer from the Transformers movie in 1985, way better than any of the Michael Bay Transformers movies, by the way. He's a maniac. He is a complete maniac. So what is the part of this that is the positive part? Well, first, the positive part is he's leaving, right? This guy has a couple weeks left, and he's going out in what he views, I suppose, as a blaze of glory. This is a guy who, when he had locked everybody down and said, don't go to the gyms, he was caught at the gym, he was caught in the park. I mean, he's just a horrible human being. Like, that's all I can say about these people at this point. Like, what else is there to say about all of these people? I don't know. But the silver lining is this. New Yorkers, and I was there a couple weeks ago, and I spent most of my adult life living in New York City. I moved to New York City right out of college about 2000. I lived in New York City till about 2013 when I moved to this crazy dystopia of Los Angeles. I really should have my head examined. But New Yorkers have a sense of fight and a sense of spirit. If you haven't watched the Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters movie, or Ghostbusters 2 even, you can really feel it in Ghostbusters. If you don't believe me, New Yorkers still have that. When I was there a few weeks ago, you could still feel that on the streets. And I think people have had it with this bullshit. I really do. And I think a lot of people are just going to say, no, I'm not complying. I will not comply. I am not listening to you. You are a crazy communist nutbag. You're on your way out. You people do not own our lives. We elected you or we didn't vote for you, but somebody elected you to defend our rights, not have you rule over us like kings and queens. And you're horrible people, and we're just not going to do it. And by the way, when I was in New York City, that was when you had to show the passports and all that. And nowhere was I asked to show a passport. I went into places without masks and all that. So the silver lining is that the more they get hysterical, and that's what these idiots are doing, they are making Omicron into the next Delta, and there will be something after that and something after that, and they will never look at themselves, right? They'll never take that mirror. De Blasio said it right there, 2 years into this thing. Well, wait a minute. 2 years into this thing, who was the mayor for 2 years? It was you douchebag. So maybe you should be looking at your policies if it's so bad and stepping down in shame rather than pushing more draconian laws. But this has nothing to do with a virus anymore, as you know. This is about crazy people who want to control your life. And it will be your job on this planet Earth to make sure that they do not control you. So the positive twist, again, in case you missed it there, the positive twist is that people will just ignore it. I really think that will happen. Even here in this ridiculous place known as Los Angeles, I see people starting to ignore it. People will just ignore these people. They will keep coming out with more ridiculous. It's almost, you hear this out of communist regimes, that the rhetoric keeps getting ramped up and ramped up and ramped up because they know they don't have the people, so they just have to keep seeming like it's the show must go on. I talk about kayfabe a lot, which is WWE, it's wrestling, that we're all watching this thing that we know isn't true, but we're all participating in it, and you can have real emotions as Hulk Hogan slams Andre the Giant, and you can be like, oh my God, Hogan beat Andre the Giant, and you have this feeling like, oh my God, that just happened in front of me and it's real, even though they set the whole thing up beforehand. And that's sort of what we're in right now. We're in the show must go on version of democracy with these clowns. And I think more and more people will just ignore it and go about their lives. And I don't know beyond that. I think we still got a lot to fight, but that's the hope. The hope is that you're the hope. And prove me right, would you? Do me a favor. Prove Dave right.